Tristan Pottas, the CEO of First Development Resources, has opened the London Stock Exchange this morning. And joining us now from the LSE is the man himself, Tristan Pottas. Tristan, how are you feeling having just opened the stock exchange? It's been quite a long time coming for you.
How am I feeling, Mark? What a feeling. I mean, irrespective of FD, I'll come on to that in a minute, but just what the stock exchange put on, to be able to be on the balcony with, all of the supporters and the advisors who have really helped us get to this point. It was a feeling of, I guess, pride. It's been a long journey, but, ultimately we're delighted to finally get our IPO and hopefully very soon get cracking with First Development Resources.
Good. I know it has been quite a long time coming. I think it's a good sign. We've seen some more interest coming back into the market. So you've got this away just in the summer. So, nicely timed just before everyone sort of comes back in September. But I think you're pretty much ready to hit the ground running. Before we get on to that, can you just remind us what First Development is all about, the elevator pitch, if you like?
Absolutely. Look, First Development Resources, we are quite simply looking to make a significant mineral discovery in Australia. That's what we're about. And I guess to do that, one thing that we've made very clear from the very start of the inception of the company is that when we can, we will be putting money into the ground to test our targets, to give ourselves the best chance of doing just that. We always say you can only find something if you're prepared to go looking for it. And that's exactly what we want to do, Mark.
Excellent. Good. So what are the plans then, Tristan? You've got the listing going. You've got funds in the bank. I hope you've been spending the last period of time planning for this moment, ready to hit the ground running. What's the plan?
No, that's exactly right, Mark. And anyone who's followed the FDR journey will know that we've tried to be diligent in that approach to make sure that when we do get the opportunity, as we now do have, there are no additional hurdles that we have to get over. So, our primary focus, as we've always maintained, is the Wallal project in the Patterson province of Western Australia. People will be familiar with the Patterson. Most recently, the dual listing of Greatland Gold has once again put the spotlight back onto the region. And I think what's good about Greatland, I know everyone will be comparing themselves to them, but it's all for good reason. They are an excellent example of what success looks like. So, if we can emulate any degree of their success, that would be fantastic. But it is our intention to go to the Patterson and start drilling our magnetic bullseye anomalies within weeks. Simple as that.
Okay, so that's the focus. Other projects in the portfolio as well that are going to get some attention?
Definitely, of course. So the Wallal project is the focus. However, we also have the Selta project in the Northern Territory. Selta is a very different beast to Wallal. Wallal is an undercover geophysical target. There's not a great deal more work we can do there than drill. So that's what will generate that high impact news flow in the short term. Whereas at Selta, okay, it's that all of the geology is outcropping at surface. There's a package of ground the size of Greater London, within which we've identified 9 targets for everything from gold, copper to the transition metals, so your rare earth elements, your lithium and your uranium, and you're effectively tripping over the geology, whether it be the pegmatites, which may contain the lithium, or the granite outcrops, which could be that source for different metals. So we want to get a team on the ground at Selta again within weeks to ensure that there's that multi-layered approach to the exploration, to ensuring there's that steady news flow coming to market. And of course, beyond the other projects in the portfolio, as an exploration company, we always have an eye out for new opportunities. I'm not suggesting that's our focus at all, but being a listed entity with tradable paper, it does make those opportunities a bit more readily accessible. So, I think it's, as a company, always looking for new opportunities, but crucially, putting money into the ground, Mark, to give ourselves the best chance of making that discovery.
Excellent. So at Selta then, getting people on the ground to start that, I guess, early stage work, yeah, where you're doing rock chip samples, mapping, etc., a little bit of geophysics perhaps. But at Wallal, you've got your target there, that magnetic bullseye. So it's a matter of getting those drills mobilised and sinking some holes, yeah?
100%. I mean, look, drilling there's no question that it can be viewed as a high-risk strategy, but ultimately, as I keep saying, if you want to find something, you have to be prepared to go looking for it. What do people say about drill rigs? They're either the wand of truth or they're the lie detector. As far as we're concerned, we've done a great deal of good work to define and refine the Eastern anomaly, which is our primary focus. It has we've done all the necessary work to identify what characteristics potentially could result when we stick a hole into it. But ultimately, we're not going to know for definite until we get down to the Proterozoic depth, and it's going to be tremendously exciting because, as I say, you have to be brave in this industry, and I think that's exactly what we are and what we're going to do.
Okay, good. And it's in this Patterson region, which of course is where Greatland Gold are operating. So Is the thinking that it's a similar deposit, the geology carries on, or is it just a very prolific region for gold?
Well, it's all of that really, Mark. It's definitely I guess an exploration frontier which has had some fantastic results recently, and it's not just about the Greatland story. Rio's North Winu discovery is actually closer to us than Greatland's Javieron. But obviously, you've got the long-standing operations such as Telfer, such as Nifty, because it's that same geological system which extends all the way underneath the Patterson. So we're not next door to Greatland. We're 300 kilometres to the north, but it's the same system. It's got a similar geophysical signature, but it's also in the same an interpreted geological environment to that which hosts Winu. So, look again, we're in the right part of the world in terms of exploration success. We've got some high-profile neighbours who are doing some good work, and we would like to, join the ranks of success stories.
Well, exactly, yeah. So that drill program is planned. It's costed for, and you say within weeks. This is the point now that you're on the market. I have to ask you the very awkward questions of timelines. You don't have to commit to any, of course. But what are you thinking? By the autumn, when people start coming back to their desks, you'll have something going?
So, I mean, look, we can think about it. You can think about in the UK, with the summer break, which isn't really that much of a break anymore. But actually, the obviously UK summer is the winter in the Patterson. It's the most ideal time from a climatic perspective to be sending rigs out to the Patterson. In order to do any exploration work in Australia, you have to have all the necessary permissions and approvals in place, and the key one being the Heritage Clearance Survey. So we did that 3 years ago. I mean, a lot of time has passed, but we knew that these big ticket items needed to be ticked off for all of the appropriate reasons to allow us to then move on to exploration. So, So as far as we're concerned, we'd like to have a rig in the Patterson in August, Mark. And then if you consider the timeline, I'd like to think that from mobilisation to commencement of drilling the hole and getting the results back, I'd like to think we'd have it wrapped up in about 3 months. Now, I will caveat that with the fact that geology is never straightforward, drilling is never straightforward. There's always certain things which can present challenges, but we've got a very experienced drilling contractor that we'll be operating with, who've drilled these types of deposits in this type of environment in the Patterson. We've got a very experienced team that will be managing the process on our behalf, and the board. I'll be out there when the rig is turning, with a view to keeping people updated where I can. But it's about taking people on that virtual field trip where we can, keeping people up to date with what we're doing, whether that be obviously the success or the challenges that come in our industry. But ultimately, we want to get it wrapped up as quickly as possible. Pre-IPO shareholders, interested shareholders have waited a long time for FDR to come to market. We don't want to be one of these companies that just talks about it. We want to actually get after the opportunity.
Excellent. Well, I'm glad you say you can get down on site and indeed you keep shareholders up to date, bring them along for the story and the ride as well. Finally, what would success look like aside from some kind of major discovery, which is, of course, the obvious success? I mean, understanding the geology, seeing mineralization, what kind of things would make you and the team happy once a drill bit's come out of the ground?
Well, it's a good question. Look, I'm from a technical background to a certain extent with my career, and so there's technical success, but that's not what we are about. We're testing our hypothesis, so to speak, but of course we're looking for something that's economic. Drilling isn't cheap. Drilling deep holes that we will be doing comes with a lot of risk. But ultimately, I keep coming back to that same point. We want to make a discovery. We want to be said in the same breath as some of these great success stories. And right now, Matt, there's nothing to say that we won't. It will come down to what comes out of that initial hole, and what happens following that intersection will determine the next phase of work, whether it be to test exactly that around where we've got that initial intersection, or we've already got another pad that's been cleared that can accommodate a drill rig to drill in the opposite direction. It's a big target, Mark. The eastern anomaly is 2.5 kilometers by 2.5 kilometers. It's comprised of two distinct lobes. Our intention is to put a drill initially into the eastern lobe, but then equally, we can turn it around. We can stick it into the western lobe. It's such a big area that we would like to think that we will hit the target, but ultimately we're testing a target. That's what we're doing with the drill, Mark.
Okay, good. So you're raring to go, Tristan?
Absolutely. Can't wait to get started. We already have got started. This is it. Day one.
Excellent. Well, thank you very much for your time, and congratulations again on that IPO today. Tristan Pottas, the CEO of First Development Resources.
Thanks very much, Mark.
If you enjoyed this interview, then give us a thumbs up, a like or a retweet. Subscribe to us on YouTube or follow us on Twitter, and hit that notification bell to be the first to know when we release new content. There's loads of great content on our website too, across all our programs at stockboxmedia.com. Thank you for watching.